Hey everyone, welcome back to CryptoCache. Thank you so much for joining me here. Today we're taking another look at Shiba Inu, and just before we do, we usually look at Bitcoin, but I can summarize it in 3 words. Not exciting at all. That's 4 words, I realize that, but yeah, Bitcoin's kind of just, doing its thing. It's pretty much just stuck on stupid going sideways at 61,300. So we normally look at that, but not really worth it. If you're new to the channel, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only, but keep this in mind. I love educating other people on how to become better traders, right? I trade very well in my professional, experience. I've done always very well, more so lately than not, but generally speaking, the whole concept is for me to help you become a better trader. Like, that's what I truly enjoy doing, which is why I have a trading community. If you'd like to consider joining that, it's CryptoCache Premium, where I just basically send out signals for every single trade that I take, and I share with you best practice, and we all learn and grow together. I cannot tell you how amazing these patrons are. I mean, not only the fact that they're helping me, but we're all helping each other. It's a really cool collaborative environment. So just super impressed with them. Anyways, taking a look here at the one-day chart. Oh, one last thing. Sorry, in regard to the premium account, if you were to consider doing that month end, we do actually have the price is going to be increasing. So I'm recommending you might consider starting sooner than later so you can lock in your rates. We're also going to cap out at 200 members, and we're already at about 105. So just bear that in mind. All right, so looking at Shiba Inu. Obviously, the price bounced off of support here, or is still kind of bouncing, for lack of better terms. We got about 15 minutes left in this trading cycle, so it does look like it's going to pretty much close right at the support of about 5,000, plus or minus a couple. So right about 5,000, we got that support level. That was a key level resistance before, right? Just before it broke out, we actually had that as a resistance level. So, that's just kind of one of those things where we saw that happen previously, but that being said, with it being a previous resistance, is now a strong support, and in turn, that is essentially why we're seeing that bounce. But what's also interesting too is we see this little dead cat here. It's actually easier to see on the 4-hour chart. But when the price came down, SEP kind of worked its way sideways, and it looked like it was going to have a descending wedge pattern, right? Usually there's a breakout to the downside when that happens. It didn't. It kind of falsely jumped up here and then just slowly died off here the last few days. So just bear in mind, Bitcoin's been kind of going sideways / retracing in the last 2 trading days. That's pretty much concurrent with this right here. So as much as we want to believe that coins like these are, secondary to Bitcoin, they can kind of move independent, they're very reliant on it still, outside of bullish trends, right? So just keep that in mind. The trend is your friend, of course, but when it's not, it's your enemy, right? So I would say Shiba has been the enemy for a little while, if that makes any sense at all. But cool thing is, last 4 hours, we've got this doji candle here, which essentially just tells us that we have a really strong chance of bringing the price back up, right? In other words, bullish harami essentially tells us we are going to be able to find a nice reversal, and then the doji also kind of confirms and reiterates that. So I think we're probably pretty good to say that this is a support level. So if you're going to consider DCA, dollar cost averaging, or adding to your position, maybe even taking a position, this should be the lowest point, hypothetically, for now, right? And I say hypothetically because there's no guarantees, but generally speaking, it's holding fairly strong right there, and I like to see that. That's a good sign. All right, so if you're going to take anything away from it, that is a good thing. Also note the 200's creeping up as well to potentially meet the price action here, at least the support level, right? It'll eventually hit that probably within the next couple of weeks. So that's a good sign as well. Price is below the 50-day simple moving average. I'm not super concerned with that, but there's a chance that it'll probably break back above when the price continues to progress upwards. But for right now, I think the most important thing is to recognize that this is a potential support level. 5,000 should be a strong support. If a one-day candlestick can kind of close right where it's at, we're probably just fine. Furthermore, we also have 5,700 roughly as a next major resistance level, right? That was the line on the Fibonacci retracement from before. We can reaffirm or reiterate that here soon and kind of see what that looks like. It's probably changed a little bit, obviously, since the price went down much further. But if you just go down to this little key level of support, which is probably more accurate, we have a resistance level. We'll just go ahead and mark 0.5 because that's a pretty consistent one. 0.5 on Fibonacci is basically the halfway point. That's a common retracement section, and therefore it will be a common resistance level when the price comes back up. All right. Let's also look at the inverse as well. We'll take a look at that. Okay, we'll do the prediction here in just a minute. I want to look at the 1-hour chart and see where we're at. We're obviously going to be below the cloud, but how far down are we? Fairly well down. Okay, so bottom line here is we can get the price action come on over and up and over, we're going to be okay because this cloud's going to keep coming down, right? So for lack of better terms, I would say we probably better case scenario to break above the cloud somewhere within 2 days. It could very well happen tomorrow if the price were to rebound and bounce back up. Say Bitcoin decides to get its act together and goes to 63, 64,000. Then we're going to be pretty good shape here for Shiba to kind of take off. Again, it's not going to just catapult, straight up because of it, but it's going to have much more confidence, right? We're in this like fear market, so to speak, right now with Bitcoin kind of, well, it's more neutral, right? Not necessarily fear, but not greed at all. So, people are being a little more conservative because everyone's taking their profits. People that aren't you and I, right? The whales that own 70% of stuff like this. Anyways, enough about that. That's kind of where we're at with Ishimoku. If we look at TD sequential, we'll just go ahead and see a few resets. So all we really need to do at this point is go ahead and take a look at the big picture and see where this one could still go. In other words, it's probably going to be very similar to my previous prediction. And bottom line here is that it's just going to be a little bit further away. And what I mean further away, I just mean like date, because it's going to take longer to get there, for lack of better terms, right? So right around 13,700 would be probably a better case scenario. Keep in mind, if you take entry now and we get to that point, that's about 170% increase. So it wouldn't be a terrible idea to consider a swing trade, because the likelihood of Shiba Inu coming back up to that point, I think is 50-50. I say that because we have a lot of resistance between here and there to get through, and we also have some time to evolve. But if Bitcoin can do what it's supposed to do and hit 6 figures by year end or early next, we will probably see Shiba Inu do so as well, because this is, whether we like to believe it or not, a large market cap coin, right? And you're supposed to have, at least 10% of your, 25% of your portfolio in the top 10, right? And if I'm not mistaken, I think Shiba Inu is in the top 10. I think it is. So for lack of better terms, this would be a coin that a lot of people are potentially hodling until, of course, we see that blow off top for Bitcoin. Different story. That's a 4-year cycle, but generally speaking here, I would say month end we may see 13,000. I think that's very, very bold statement. I don't think that's going to be very likely personally, just because again, 176% from where it's at right now is a big move. Now, honestly, it did move a lot previously. Don't get me wrong, it still has potential, but the further something comes down, like we see here recently, the harder it is to come back up. So do not expect this to rebound and hit, its previous resistance level of 88.37 anytime soon. So about 8,800, for example, you shouldn't expect to see that in the next couple of days. I would say in the next couple of weeks is probably more likely. So my prediction for month end would be somewhere in the range of 8,800 to maybe 10,000, or just say 10,000 for that matter. And that would probably be a more realistic estimate. Is 10,000, I would say, by month end. That's my guess. Again, it's all just educated guessing based on its history and where we're at with the Fibonacci at this point, because a lot of the traditional indicators are kind of out of whack with how exaggerated the price is. That being said, I hope you find benefit here, and feel free to subscribe, because I'm just going to stay on top of some of these coins here that are a little more consistent recently, just based on the fact that everyone's really needing to know what to do with these, because they move a lot quicker than most coins. So we kind of got to be on top of it. So I'm going to take a more regular approach here. And if you're not already part of my Patreon account, please check that out, of course. Link in the description or above here as well, to help you understand what that entails. It's a pretty cool experience. I share all my trades with my members. We're all learning and growing together and just profiting together. It's amazing. And what's even cooler is the bear market's going to be even more lucrative. I can explain that in another video, but I can tell you that I'm excited for the bear market when that does occur. I know it sounds strange, but if you know what you're doing, it's actually a lot of fun. Either way, thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll see you in the next one. Take care.